You've probably heard of Medusa, the Greek legend with a deadly gaze that could turn anyone to stone. Welcome to Lake Natron, an extraordinary and eerie natural wonder in Tanzania, where wildlife appears to turn into stone. Located in the heart of the East African Rift, Lake Natron isn't just another picturesque lake. It's a hypersaline and highly alkaline marvel, famous for its bizarre and deadly characteristics. While Tanzania is home to several alkaline lakes, Natron takes the spotlight, and for good reason. So, what makes this lake so infamous? Let's start with its stats. Lake Natron may be shallow, just 3 meters deep, but it spans an impressive 22 kilometers wide. It's fed by the southern Owasso Ngiro River from Kenya, but its history goes much deeper, right back to the Pleistocene period. That's when the nearby Oldoinyo Lengai volcano came into play, spewing lava rich in sodium and potassium carbonates. Over time, this lava flowed into the lake, creating a unique and lethal environment. Now, fast forward thousands of years. With no natural outlet and irregular rainfall, the lake has undergone relentless evaporation under Tanzania's scorching sun. This evaporation has left behind a toxic concoction of trona, sodium sesquicarbonate dihydrate, and natron, hydrated sodium carbonate. If those names sound scientific and intimidating, wait until you hear this. Lake Natron's water is so alkaline it measures a pH level of 10.5 to 12. For context, most freshwater lakes fall between 6 and 8 on the pH scale, a perfect range for life to thrive. Lake Natron. It's more alkaline than bleach. Temperature-wise, the lake isn't any friendlier. On an average day, the water sizzles between 40 degrees to 60 degrees Celsius. For most living organisms, this combination of heat and alkalinity is a death sentence. The few creatures that can survive here are evolutionary anomalies, specifically adapted to handle such harsh conditions. But why does it seem like wildlife turns to stone here? The lake's unique chemical makeup is the culprit. When birds or animals accidentally dive into the water, the intense alkalinity can kill them. The lake's minerals coat their bodies in a way that preserves them eerily well. The result? They look like statues, frozen in time and nature's harsh embrace. To truly appreciate Lake Natron's extremity, let's compare it to another famous hypersaline lake, the Great Salt Lake in the US. The Great Salt Lake is undeniably alkaline, with a pH range of 9 to 10. But it's still home to thriving ecosystems like brine shrimp and algae. In contrast, Lake Natron's pH can reach 12. That's an entirely different level, far beyond what most life forms can endure. Imagine swimming in a pool of bleach, but it's also scalding hot. That's Lake Natron for you. While the Great Salt Lake's conditions are harsh yet habitable, Natron's environment is downright unforgiving. So, what makes Lake Natron so dangerous? First, its water is a hyper-alkaline brew, almost as caustic as ammonia. The lake is loaded with sodium carbonate and sodium sesquicarbonate, creating a toxic brine that can literally dissolve soft tissues. Animals unlucky enough to fall in don't just perish. They're often calcified, their bodies eerily preserved as if turned to stone by the lake's deadly touch. If that sounds extreme, let's put it into perspective by comparing it to the Dead Sea, a name that already screams inhospitable. Despite its extreme salinity, the Dead Sea is practically a spa retreat compared to Lake Natron. Its pH hovers between 6 and 7, closer to regular seawater. That means life, albeit limited, finds a way. You'll find halophilic bacteria and even some hardy algae thriving there. The Dead Sea may not welcome your average fish, but it's a paradise for certain microbes that revel in its salty embrace. Lake Natron, on the other hand, it's a whole different beast. The lake's combination of blistering temperatures, toxic brine, and extreme alkalinity creates an environment so hostile that almost nothing survives. Anything that ventures too close risks becoming part of the lake's macabre collection of calcified remains. It's like the lake has a morbid Midas touch. But here's the twist. Even in this hellscape, life finds a way. Just not the kind you're used to. Look closer, and you'll notice something unusual about Lake Natron's waters. They're a striking red. That's thanks to cyanobacteria, tiny microorganisms that thrive in salt-laden environments and, believe it or not, are photosynthetic. These bacteria use sunlight to create energy, producing pigments that turn the water that surreal, otherworldly hue. It's like nature's eerie masterpiece painted in shades of red. And cyanobacteria aren't the only survivors. Lake Natron is also home to a handful of species that have mastered the art of survival. Take the alkaline tilapia, for example. These fish, members of the cichlid family, somehow manage to withstand the extreme conditions, though they stick to the cooler, less volatile areas of the lake. They're not exactly thriving in paradise, but they've carved out a niche in one of the harshest environments on Earth. Lake Natron's intense alkalinity acts like a natural embalmer, mummifying these creatures. Feathers, bones, and all. They're left eerily intact, scattered along the shores as if frozen in time. It's a grim scene, like something straight out of a dystopian horror movie. In 2013, photographer Nick Brandt brought this macabre phenomenon to global attention. His photos of the lake's calcified victims, birds and other creatures, posed as if touched by Medusa herself, were as haunting as they were mesmerizing. But here's the thing. The calcification process isn't instant. Unlike the mythical Medusa, Lake Natron doesn't turn animals to stone with a glance. The transformation happens over time as salt and minerals from the water harden their remains, preserving them in a chilling state. Yet not everything at Lake Natron spells doom. For one animal, this deadly environment is paradise: the lesser flamingo. Believe it or not, over 2.5 million lesser flamingos breed along the lake's shores, making it one of the largest breeding grounds for this endangered species. In fact, 75% of the world's lesser flamingos are born here. So how do these flamingos thrive where others perish? It all comes down to their incredible adaptations. These birds have special glands in their heads that filter salt from the water, allowing them to feast on the lake's abundant algae and cyanobacteria without being poisoned. And while the lake's waters are scalding hot in many areas, flamingos have developed tough, heat-resistant skin that shields them from burns. They also stick to the cooler parts of the lake, proving that even in the harshest conditions, life can adapt in remarkable ways. Now, what about humans? What happens if someone falls into Lake Natron? Spoiler alert, it's not a spa day. The lake's high alkalinity would burn your skin and eyes almost immediately. In fact, the ancient Egyptians used similar compounds: sodium carbonate and bicarbonate for mummification. Lake Natron could have saved their embalmers a ton of work. That's not just theory either. In 2007, a helicopter carrying wildlife videographers crashed nose first into the lake. The passengers survived but found themselves in Lake Natron's caustic waters. Their skin and eyes burned, but with sheer determination and help from locals, they made it to shore. Had they stayed in the water much longer, they likely wouldn't have lived to tell the tale. And if someone drowned in the lake, they wouldn't turn to stone instantly, but over time the salt and minerals would harden their body, preserving it for centuries. Teeth, hair, and bones would remain, making them a natural mummy. It's a chilling thought, but it underscores the lake's incredible, albeit lethal power. So while Lake Natron may seem like a picturesque destination, it's best left to the flamingos and their hardy adaptations. For most creatures, humans included, It's a one-way ticket to becoming part of the lake's eerie, calcified collection. Nature, in all its beauty and brutality, is full of surprises. Lake Natron is a stark reminder of its extremes. It's a place of death and transformation, but also of resilience and survival, proving that even in the most hostile environments, life like those flamingos finds a way. Thanks for watching. Please like the video, press the subscribe button, and also drop your thoughts in the comment section.